Yo, so what's going on YouTube? What's going on Raider Nation? It is your boy Byron. We got another Forgotten Raiders video for you guys right now, man. I first want to give a shout out to this guy right here for suggesting the Denarius Moore video. If you guys ever want to, suggest people that I should do, just leave it down in the comment sections. I am open up to suggestions and I will shout you out in the video. So shouts out to you, man. Also, shout out to YSSE. First off, look at this dope t-shirt right here. Jon Gruden, man. It looks lit as fuck, bruh. It's a dope t-shirt. If you guys want this t-shirt, and I highly suggest you get this t-shirt, I'm about to cop me a t-shirt because this thing looks flat out amazing. The link will be in the description. So for all my Jon Gruden lovers out there, copy this t-shirt ASAP. If you want the t-shirt, the link will be in the description below. But now, let's get on to the video. So now, we're going to talk about Denarius Moore. Now, Denarius Moore would attend Tatum High School in Tatum, Texas, where he would be a letterman in football, track, and in basketball. He was named twice Class 2A Texas Sports Writers First Team All-State as a kickoff returner, second team Reebok Super Team as a corner, and was a Prep Star All-American while he was in high school. And while he was in basketball, he averaged 20 points a game. So he could do football, basketball, and track. He was all amazing in those things. After his high school career was over, he was only ranked as a 3-star recruit, but 8 schools were interested in Denarius Moore at this time. Those schools were Texas Tech, the University of Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, the University of Florida, TCU, the University of Missouri, the University of Arkansas, and the University of Tennessee. Now, Moore would just visit 3 of those colleges at that time. He would have visits with the University of Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, and the University of Tennessee. But Denarius Moore would later commit to the University of Tennessee in 2007. In Denarius Moore's freshman year, he saw very little action and only had 14 catches for 212 yards in 2007 in his freshman debut. But next season, it was kind of like the same thing. In 2008, now his sophomore season, he would go from 14 catches just to 11. But he would improve on the yards as he would have 11 catches for 271 yards and he would score 2 touchdowns. And now, fast forward in his junior year, this is where Denarius Moore would start to vastly improve. So in 2009, in his junior year, Denarius Moore had 40 catches for 540 yards and would score 7 touchdowns. Now getting a lot more scoring involved, especially in the red zone. Denarius Moore became more as a threat. But he would greatly improve in his last year at the University of Tennessee in 2010. As a senior, Denarius Moore would have 47 catches for 981 yards, just 19 yards away from a 1,000-yard receiving season. He would score 10 total touchdowns. 9 of those would be receiving touchdowns and 1 would be a rushing touchdown. His longest catch that year would be for 64 yards. Denarius Moore also had 3 games where he had over 100 yards receiving, from his junior, sophomore, and freshman year where he had 0, and now in his senior year where he would have 3 games where he would accomplish that. Not only that, he would also have 2 games where he went over 200 yards receiving. One would be against South Carolina where he had 6 catches for 228 yards and he would score a touchdown, averaging 38 yards a catch. And the other game would be against the University of Kentucky where he would have 7 catches for 205 yards and also would score a touchdown, averaging 29.3 yards a carry. Now, after his last year at the University of Tennessee, Denarius Moore declared for the draft. Now, at the scouting combine where he ran a 4.45 and was known as a deep threat with his speed and could be mostly as a possession receiver, and improved on his route running while he was at the University of Tennessee. But a lot of scouts had him ranked as being drafted on the 3rd day. which he would be drafted in the 3rd day, because in the 2011 NFL draft, in the 5th round of that draft, Denarius Moore would be drafted by the Oakland Raiders. And as we all know, Al Davis loved that speed, and he had deep speed, especially when, straight lines. He would be able to use his speed to get away from receivers. Now, in 2011, Denarius Moore really impressed in training camp and in the preseason. And now we fast forward to the regular season. In just his 2nd game ever in his NFL career, Denarius Moore was forced to start due to injuries. The first 3 starting wide receivers for the Oakland Raiders were injured, which meant that Denarius Moore would now have to play as a starter. And he balled out in this game.
Held near the block at the left tackle, going deep for Moore. Oh, what a catch! Touchdown Raiders! Wow, is all you can say to that. The rookie from Tennessee, Denarius Moore. Remember, Jacoby Ford out. Darius Hayward-Bay out. Lewis Murphy out. 3 top receivers for the Raiders out of this game due to injury, and he pulls off plays like this.
He had 5 catches for 146 yards and scored a touchdown, and he had 1 rush for 25 yards. And after that game, he would remain the starter for the next following weeks. But then in week 10, he was not starting in this game. Darius Hayward-Bay and Jacoby Ford were starting ahead of him, but it would be the best game of his career on a primetime game in San Diego, Thursday night, week 10, against the San Diego Chargers. Denarius Moore would have 5 catches for 123 yards and would score 2 touchdowns in that game alone. Denarius Moore would finish his rookie season with 33 catches for 618 yards and scored 5 receiving touchdowns and scored 1 rushing touchdown against the New York Jets. Now fast forward to 2012. This is now his 2nd year in the NFL, and after having a good rookie season, Moore would be the starter for the rest of the season, playing in 15 games and starting in 15 games. Moore would improve on his catches, yards, and his touchdowns, as he finished the season with 51 catches for 741 yards and scored 7 touchdowns. His best game he would play that season would be in week 6 against the Atlanta Falcons, where Denarius Moore had 5 catches for 104 yards and scored a touchdown. Not only that, he was also 2nd most receiving yards on that team in that season. The only person who had more receiving yards than him that year was the tight end, Brandon Meyer. Now fast forward to his 3rd year in the NFL. Now, despite having 3 different quarterbacks throwing to him in 2013 with Terrell Pryor, Matt Flynn, and Matt McGloin, Denarius Moore would still put up good numbers and would have 46 catches for 695 yards and would score 5 touchdowns. His best game that season would be in week 3, another primetime game in Denver against the Denver Broncos on Monday night, where he had 6 catches for 124 yards and would score a touchdown. In concluding that 2013 season, again, he had the 2nd most receiving yards on the team that year. Only person that was ahead of him was Rod Streeter, who had 888 yards receiving in that season. But unfortunately, the end would be for Denarius Moore, because in the year of 2014, the Raiders would bring in James Jones from free agency to have a veteran leadership at the wide receiver core, because they were desperate. They were struggling with wide receivers. Rod Streeter was dramatically improving. Andre Holmes was a tall wide receiver that can win jump ball situations. And then you have Bryce Butler, who was also improving at the time. So which meant, unfortunately, Denarius Moore would not get a lot of playing time with Derek Carr and those boys in 2014. Denarius Moore would only play in 10 games, and he would only start in just 2 of those games that season. And it was his worst season as a Raider, as he had just 12 catches for 115 yards and 0 touchdowns. And after the year was done, after he played out his rookie contract, the Raiders decided not to re-sign Denarius Moore, which meant he would have to become a free agent. Now in 2015, in the offseason, Denarius Moore would decide to sign with the Cincinnati Bengals, and it looked like a good sign because Hugh Jackson was on that staff on that season with the Cincinnati Bengals, and he was with Denarius Moore his rookie year as the head coach for the Oakland Raiders. But unfortunately, Denarius Moore would be cut in the first wave of cuts in the preseason that year. It wouldn't be until early October that Denarius Moore would sign with the Buffalo Bills. He would play in 6 games, but would not start in any of those games. And in fact, he would not even record any stats or get any playing time with them. The only stat that Denarius Moore had that year was he fumbled the ball on a punt return. That's basically the only stat line I see from him in 2015. And unfortunately, in late November of that year, the Buffalo Bills decide they would cut Denarius Moore. And unfortunately for Denarius Moore, he has not played since. He only had 5 years in the NFL, 4 with us, and 1 technically with the Bengals, but they cut him, and then basically ending the season with the Buffalo Bills, and they cut him as well. Despite that, in just his 5-year career, Denarius Moore would finish his career with 142 catches, 2,169 receiving yards, and scored 17 touchdowns. Now, it's very unfortunate what happened with Denarius Moore. I loved the Denarius Moore when he was with us. He was my favorite wide receiver on the team at one time. And I will never forget 2011 against the Buffalo Bills. I remember my dad had just come off from work, and he told me, like, son, can you just chill with the yelling and all? I know your Raiders are on, but I need my sleep. And I remember Denarius Moore, I was screaming at the top of my lungs. Woke up my dad. Dad was pissed off. Dad cussed me out, but it was a great memory. And Denarius Moore, you gave me that memory. And the fact that the way you handled the San Diego Chargers, man, you had great potential with us, but just in the end, it just didn't work out. But I just want to say this right now, man. Denarius Moore, the Raider Nation loves you, man. Thank you for everything that you have done for us, especially in your 4 short years with us, man. Thank you for putting in the hard work. Thank you for scoring those touchdowns, and thank you for just improving every season you were with us. And unfortunately, it just came to an end. So, Raider Nation, this is the favor I ask for you guys right now. This picture right here, spam it. Spam it everywhere with Denarius Moore. Go on his Twitter and go on his Instagram account and hit him with the hashtag that the nation still loves you, man, because I like looking back at and looking at these players, and, you know, yes, they're not in the league now, or they didn't have the careers that they thought they would, but I would just like to give, you know, some love and appreciation, especially to Denarius Moore, man. Thank you for everything that you have done, man, and just thank you. And I really can't say enough, man. You gave me some really great memories over the years, especially in 2011, man. So I want to say thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning into the video, man. Like, comment, share, you know, comment down below what you thought about Denarius Moore. What did you think of the video? Which Raiders should I do next? And also, you guys, don't forget, if you want that Jon Gruden t-shirt right here, man, go in the link below. It will be in there. They got all sizes, man. YSSE is some cool people. They hit me up. So go ahead and cop that t-shirt if you can. I would appreciate it. Like me on I'm fucking up. But yeah, Raider Nation, thank you guys. I will see you guys in the next video. Follow me on Instagram. The links all will be in the description. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace out, y'all.